Okay, it is 5:05. We're calling this meeting to order. However, it's worth noting that we do not have a quorum, so there will be no voting to be had tonight. However, we will be having discussions with items on the agenda. Again, there's no opportunity for us to vote on anything without a quorum. In the off chance that we have a board member slide in late, then we could potentially go through that process. However, at this point, we'll just have to discuss items on the agenda. In fact, I don't know that we can even really approve the agenda. However, I believe we're still able to discuss items on the agenda. And the plan is to send the minutes to missing board members to catch them up and reschedule a time for us to meet and vote on appropriate items on the agenda. So at this point, we'll start with a call to order and the roll call. And
Carlos, you don't take a roll call if you're not having an
okay,
official meeting. Yeah.
no roll call. No, okay, got it. So the items on the agenda that we could talk about is the director's report. So if Melissa, you can update us on everything that you got going on.
Sure, it is in your packet. So I'll start with, hold on, let me get this up here. So flag football practices have begun. Games will begin October the 4th. We have 134 athletes this season, which is down 11 registrations from last season. Like always, I have people that try to get on after the fact, but once I have processed shirt orders and done that, I don't take them on because I gotta have a cutoff point. This season, we struggled greatly to find coaches. In the first and second grade division, I think we had 53 kids registered and 2 parents volunteered to coach 53 kids. So we struggled finding coaches in that. A huge thank you to Kurt's Mobile Home for sponsoring this season. We had a sponsor back out, but they stepped up without question and didn't hesitate, and we're very thankful for them. Grounds and satellite parks, Al Brown, flood damage, the fencing, the repairs have been made. I've been getting with D&K Fencing to get a gate installed there. That money would not be filtering through us, it'd be through the Salem Mo Spectacular, because that's why it was cut, was to help that, so they will be replacing it. Park use, 5th and 6th grade tackle football practices on the field. They have removed all of their practice items, so they used to store all of the practice stuff where we had our concession stand, and then we moved all the stuff into our storage shed, which was kind of cumbersome with all of our equipment. I had spoken with them to see if they could find a solution to bring an outbuilding or something that we were willing to house on the property for them to contain their stuff. So they did find that, and that's been installed down by the field, so it's easy for them to get in and out of with all of their pads and all of that stuff. Keep it separate from ours. Michael Connors had a concert there recently. Project Graduation will have a softball tournament there this weekend, which will be the first weekend we get to use our fun lights, so that'll be a good kickoff to that. And then coming up in October, toward the end of October, we'll have the Salem Mo Spectacular event there again. Excuse me. Moving on, Salem City Park, Billy's Playground. Park fully opened on June 26th, which I'm sure you guys are all aware of that. The ground cover, if you haven't had a chance to go look at it, it is great. It's really great. And we've had a lot of compliments about making both sides handicap accessible. That's been a really big plus. So thank you guys for voting to make that happen. It's been an asset. Red and green softball fields, the fence there has also been repaired. Then we'll move on to Alice Lou Craig Municipal Swimming Pool. I put a lot of statistics in it this time because I'm on Facebook, and so I see a lot of stuff, and I try not to take things personal because it gets hard sometimes when all you do is work and you try your best to do stuff, but you have people that just have nothing nice to say. And it gets very disheartening. But I just wanted to show you some of the statistics because we didn't have last year to look back on, but we do have the 2023 season that I tried to pull numbers from. So this is what I did find. So 2025 season was 90 days long. And that does not include remaining open 2 additional weeks for water aerobics, which was just weekdays. The season was May 24th through September 1st, although we were not able to open on May 24th because the temperature was below 70 degrees. So we had 20 full closure dates, which included 10 due to pump issues, 9 weather closures, and 1 closure where we were short staff. And again, we have all high school students. We have 3 managers that are teachers. The rest are all high school or college students. We cannot control when their parents go on vacation. We cannot control when they have sporting events and camps and all of that. We need those active kids to be lifeguards because if they are not active, it's very difficult for them to pass the strenuous test of becoming certified. And so we want to make sure that we have kids that are capable of getting in the water and swimming and it being athletic enough to make those rescues. And then we had 13 partial closure days, which is either weather or related to low attendance. When I say low attendance, what it usually is a day that it's really questionable weather, but we open anyway because it is not thundering and it is not lightning, but 3 kids will show up. And if there's only 3 kids for a certain amount of time, we have it in policy that we close because it's costing way too much to stay open. So we had 13 partial closure days, which means that we either opened later in the day, closed early, or even that we opened, closed, and opened. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the kids are still kind of on call. They can't really go do anything. They still have to be accessible if they're working that day. We were open 2 extra weeks for water aerobics. Participants were required to sign a waiver of participation daily, acknowledging that there would not be a lifeguard on duty with a release of liability. So I went in those 2 weeks after during, 9 to 10 each day for the water aerobics people to come in and, or the people that just wanted to lap swim to come in on those days. We did extend our season until September 1st, which is something that since I've been working here, we have not done. Several of the extended dates were very low attendance. We did open 2 hours early for the 4th of July, and we closed at 5 p.m. to accommodate for that holiday also. We had 4,303 daily admissions for the 2025 season. And in 2023 season, we had 4,615 daily admissions. Those are people that pay the regular price to come in. I did the math. I think we were pretty close to even because we did raise the price to $6 for everybody, so there wasn't a difference between kids, seniors, and adults. So even though the number is different, what we made was pretty close to the same. There were 2,754 daily admissions, and that should have said daily pass admissions. So if you were holding a pass, they have to mark you coming in with a pass so that we can keep attendance. In the 2023 season, it was 2,407 visits with pass holders. We had 30 pool parties in 2025, and we had 19 in 2023. Pool passes, family or individual, was 112 passes for this season and 104 for the 23 season. Something that we do for city staff is we do allow city staff to have a family pass. And if they need an additional add a person, then they have to pay the regular rate. But we do that to kind of help boost morale and kind of give them a benefit and have them enjoy the pool as well. And I didn't write the number of how many passes that we had given out. 76 swimming lessons, and in 2023, that is not right. There was 90. That is an error on my part, I apologize. 2023, there were 90 swimming lessons, participants. Change in total attendance, plus 35 people. I typed it into ChatGPT to see what it would break down the difference in, and it said that it was a 0.5% increase. Daily admission drop, negative 312 people, so it was 6.8%. Pool passes use increased by 347 people, which was an increase of 14.4%. Creek erosion, we have a permit that has been approved by the Corps of Engineers, working with the street department to get the breakdown for FEMA on the mitigation portion, and we hope to be getting that work done fairly quickly, because every time we get a major rainstorm and it just continues to eat and wash away, and we want to get a handle on that before it's too late. Pavilion rentals, still renting pavilions, contact the city administration office and select utilities at 729-4811.
Melissa, can I
Yes.
interject something real quick? The creek erosion, that is damage from the November flooding from last year. So that's additional damage from that is FEMA reimbursable. So I just want to make note of that because it didn't, you know what I mean, it didn't state it
Sorry.
here. So that's what Melissa means. So every time we get a decent rain event since then, it's just eroding more, so.
The Salem Most Spectacular, it would be our second annual event, partnering with Parsons Chiropractic. It will be October 25th, 11 a.m. to 9:30. As of right now, we have 8 balloons. One of those balloons will be offering tethered rides before the balloon glow. The balloon owner themselves are the ones offering the tethered ride. It's not us doing it, so you have to contact the balloon, and you'll go down to them. That's who takes payment and all of that. But that's a fun addition to this year. We already have over 10 food trucks. We have over 50 craft vendors. I think right now we're looking at just over 60, actually, craft vendors. We'll have free face painting this year, a free petting zoo, free bounce houses. There's some cool things. There will be an axe throwing trailer there. And then we are looking for additional sponsors. We have 8 balloons this year. We have 5 sponsors, and after we had kind of gotten the balloons on our radar, they told us that it was going to be more for the tethered balloon, so we have to pay additional just to bring the tethered balloon down, and then we're looking to get an animated balloon, and that balloon is $1,500. So they're a little bit more expensive, but they're a lot cooler. The balloon that I saw that is coming, and it is tethered, it's a very vibrant balloon. It'll be a great addition to what we had last year. So, looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of work, but I'm excited for it. Then, if you look to the back of this kind of goes along with, you guys are going to discuss the LWCF grant. And in order to apply or do anything with the LWCF grant, you have to have a plan. And not just a plan, but it has to be a detailed cost breakdown, labor breakdown, who's doing what, when, and where, in order to even apply for it. I know we had talked a lot about the old fairgrounds, and we were at one meeting that we had talked about some different things, and I went back to my office and I kind of put in what's been in my head on paper. I don't know if the dimensions are really accurate because I haven't measured any of it out, but I kind of put my ideas on paper just to give you an idea of a visual to see what kind of I would hope to kind of cultivate and develop that property into. And it's not set in stone, and it doesn't have to be that, but just kind of what I was toying around with. So for people that don't see it, because we don't have it up on the board, I have envisioned pickleball is huge. Huge, huge, huge. And it's huge because it keeps people active that are very, very young, but also up in age that can participate in pickleball because it is suitable for all ages, which keeps everybody active, which is a goal that Parks and Rec has, is keeping people active because that helps them have a healthier lifestyle, helps them live longer, helps them contribute more to your community that you live in. And so we also have issues with our tennis courts, are like breaking apart, and the foundation of them are not suitable to keep recoating it or resurfacing it. So if we put any more money into where they are currently located, I don't think that would be a good cause. But if we relocated them completely, I think that would be a good solution to have hybrid courts that would be tennis and pickleball and bring it to that area. We do rent our pavilions quite often. If we could put some really nice, aesthetically pleasing pavilions at the corners of this property, and maybe a walking trail, eventually some playground equipment. So all of this stuff is an idea. But the way our budget goes, you have money in an account, and it seems like a lot, but when you go to do a project like this, it's never anywhere near. So it would have to be projects that you do steps at a time. But I think that property could be developed, and it could be a really beautiful location for a park for the surrounding area, because there's a lot of houses in that area. We have a facility right next to it now that is Four Rivers that will have families there. So it'd be a good location that they could walk over. You could eventually have a nature walking trail through it, maybe a koi pond, just things like that that would bring beautification to that area, but also practicality and usability. And that's all I have.
Melissa,
And-
can
oh,
I
sorry.
ask a question?
Sure.
So what are timelines for the LWCF grants?
I'm not sure,
Okay,
but they open up every year.
right, I knew they did. And my thought, just for my 2 cents, whatever that's worth, would be, if we find out what that cycle is for applications, and then, say they were due in October, okay? Let's not try to throw something together in the next month.
Right.
Let's have as a goal that by next October, we have a plan of what we would want to do if we think we'd want to apply for funding like that. I know that's something we've kind of talked about in the past, but I don't feel like we've had a real, you know what I mean, that's kind of spurring idea, what do we want to do with it? So I just kind of throw that out. If we had a goal date, that then we work toward, okay, let's have a plan in place by, do you know what I mean, X date. So I just throw that out, sorry.
Yeah, so I gotta say, I appreciate this. I appreciate the idea. I appreciate the thought and the time it took you to come up with this. I know we've discussed it potentially being soccer fields or whatever it was and whatever it's going to be. But I genuinely believe that it's important that we do something with it. I mean, from the people I've communicated with and the conversations that I've had with several people in our community, for it just to sit there just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I know we talked about there's the option for us to donate it. At the time, we didn't think that was the best thing for the parks. And so to have a plan and to see that the effort that you've put into it, I think it's important. I genuinely appreciate that. And I think, Sally, what you said before of having an idea or a plan for next October, I think is ideal.
Right.
For us to try to scramble and get something done within a month doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And honestly, I think that'd be fairly irresponsible of us. Now, I know it could potentially to some people be worth a shot, but I think having the thoughts that this could potentially be available again next year, I think it would give us time to really get together, really develop a plan, and maybe even financially prepare ourselves for something like this. I still don't know if a year is going to be enough
Right.
time for us to save up enough money to match whatever that looks like. But I am very happy that there's thought put towards that property, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you very much for all your hard work and all the things that you do throughout the year. And I know it's difficult. Most people tell you what you're doing wrong versus all the cool things that you're doing right. But just know from our perspective, we think you're doing a fantastic job.
I appreciate that.
And I really do appreciate the effort that you put in to that property over there. at
And
the old
that's not
fairgrounds.
to scale, because I didn't do exact measurements, and I
Sure.
don't know, but that was just to get it out of my head and on paper.
Sure. And there's nothing we can vote on tonight anyway.
Right,
So,
it's just discussion.
right. And so, but for us to be thinking about this, and this just fosters creativity. Whatever it is that it's going to be, whatever it looks like, this is a start. And I think the public will appreciate that. I know I do, and I know my kids will, and I know the other kids in our community will look forward to a big project like this. And you're right, pickleball is a big deal, and I think I'm really excited about the potential of this. And I don't think I can speak for everybody else, but for me specifically, personally, I think I appreciate it. So,
You're welcome. I have one more thing that I'd been thinking about too this summer, because I was at the pool a lot and in the front office of the pool where I'm looking out all the time, and it's the skate park right in front of me all the time. I did ask Lloyd and his crew what it would cost to pour a concrete pad that is the same exact size as the one where the skate park is currently located. He said it would be approximately $7,000. And the reason I asked that is because I think if we moved the skate park closer to the front of the park where it is not hidden behind the pool and the residential area, that we would have, it would be more accessible for the police to keep an eye on, and it would also be more visible to people driving by, which would hopefully reduce the vandalism that we see back there sometimes, because it does get populated later in the evening. Oftentimes, they turn the tennis court lights on so that they can see where they're skating at also, which the neighborhood isn't really fond of. But if we move the concrete pad, all we would have to do is move the equipment, and it's all bolted down. So we would just move the equipment to that new pad. And I thought the location for it would be good. Right as you pull into the park, you have the T-ball parking lot, and then you have the creek, and then you have some open space right behind the straight-in parking, in between that and the creek. And you could pour that pad in between there, and it would be a perfect location because the other side is the creek and the other side is parking. And I think it would reduce some of that foot traffic in the back of the park during after hours times. But that's just something I want you guys to think about. It wasn't super expensive. It was a pretty reasonable fix, I thought, for maybe reducing a lot of that traffic back there. But I'll let you guys sit and stew on that for a while.
and off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what that amount was that you need to hit in order for us to be involved in the voting. Could that be underneath that amount? Where
Well,
you
it's
don't
not,
necessarily
we didn't
need
put
us-
it into a budget. So
Yeah,
it's
not
some,
in
yeah.
this year's budget.
It's not in this year's budget. So if we wanted to do it this year, we would have to vote on it.
Okay.
And then we would have to take that recommendation before the Board of Aldermen to see if we could get a budget adjustment.
Okay,
If it's something that we really wanted to invest in this year. Or if we wanted to wait until next year, but know that we want to do that. So we go ahead and make sure that we're mindful of that when we do the budget next year.
okay.
Got a handful of questions. At the Al Brown Park, when the flood damage happened and the fences got repaired, like all the repairs that took place, there was a comment that I think was a part of the approval of who got the bid for that it was repairing, I thought, all the fence.
They tied off the fence because it was pulling away from the base. So they tied it off again. Excuse me. Like connected it because it was pulling away from all the poles. So they did go around and retie
Is
all
that
of
just on the outside edge? Because the dividing fence between the two fields, like where the main LED light sets are on the first field, and then, well, no, there's two fields, and that dividing, like none of it, a bunch of it is not tied at the top at all. And so if you were to lean up against the fence, it's not tied to the top pole or the top runner.
Okay, I'll have to go look at
So
it.
it might be worth, I don't know if maybe it wasn't a part of their scope, but when we originally approved that, I thought that they were gonna go, and maybe it was just, hey, they put a spanner on the bottom, that wire, that was the main task. But it looks like almost all the clips are undone and rusted at the top of that line.
I will go and look. So they were responsible for fixing what the flood damaged.
And I'm no fence expert, but from my perspective, it appears that fence stuff was trapped on it, grass clippings, leaves, whatever.
Yeah, on the bottom.
The flood pushed it, and you could see the bow in it, and all those clips at the top they failed. So from what I would have guessed, that would have been damage from the flood, unless, it's just so many of them, and I don't remember it being
I'll go
that
and
way
look.
before the
I will
flood,
go
so-
and drive out and look.
Appreciate that. On the pool, there was lots of, I don't remember seeing it in the first year here that I was here. Had quite a few, I think, people maybe donate passes for a day pass for people?
This year, yes.
How did that ended up taking place? Did you end up having a lot? Did they all get used? What
They
was
are
the-
not all used. We still have them in our cash register that we
Okay.
mark off when they come in.
So do you anticipate then next year
Those cards will still be in the box.
awesome? Any idea of
It-
number that you
I
might
don't
have gotten from?
I don't remember the number, but I don't think people were aware of it maybe, or the people that were gonna come to the pool already were coming to the pool. Does that make sense? I had a few
Sure.
families that I were there, when I was there, they asked about it, and I had a family come in and take advantage of it that needed it.
Excellent.
And so I was happy that it was there, and I'm thankful for the people that did make the donations. But I don't think it got out to the people that really needed it. Does that make sense?
Well, I think that that's maybe at the discretion of when you see the families come in and they're like, man, maybe they would never come in because they can't
Right.
afford or that kind of thing. But nice to know, though, that I'm imagining the people who made those donations probably like to know that, hey, they're saved over for next year. It's been recorded.
Yes.
That information is known, and we can.
So they didn't use them unless they were asked for them specifically. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, makes sense. I don't think there was any rules or precedents for that. I mean, it's like the Starbucks coffee line, you're paying for the person behind you, but like, you
Right.
don't, there's no, it's not like you have a line of people that are constantly, already being bought for.
Right.
And now that might be the scenario, like, hey, the next 5 people that come in, but you
And we
want it
didn't
to
do
get
that
to
because
the
I don't
people
think
who
that was
need.
the purpose.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so. I
that's
think
why
it's for
people
need.
purchased. I think it was for people that were in need that wouldn't have been able to attend if the funding wasn't there.
Excellent. Well, and just, I guess, for the people that are on, those who did donate in that way, that was nice. And it
was very
sounds
nice.
like it did make a difference to, even if it made a difference to one family that might not have ever gotten the opportunity to enjoy one of the major park assets that we have. Thank you. That was a big deal for them, for sure.
I want to say that there were 4 different people that came in and donated.
Just to add to that, or not add, but ask a question from that. Would it be worth to potentially maybe get that information to, say, Community Action or Salvation Army or those entities that potentially help with our
Service those
community?
families?
Yeah, because those organizations are gonna have firsthand experience or firsthand knowledge on which families could potentially take advantage of those donations. I don't know how it works exactly, if they're only allowed to use it one time, or, I'm not exactly sure how you have that formatted, but
We didn't keep track of who used it or if they used it more than one time. It was, if they mentioned that
Good.
they would like to use it,
Yeah.
then,
Do you
and
think-
I think people were very sparingly with it. Like if they used it one time, they were thankful that they got to use it.
yeah. Do you think it might be worth, sharing that information with Community Action? They can kind of market it for you, or do you think that would, we would go through it and not as many people be able to take advantage of it, or how do you think that would work?
If you did it that way, they would go really quickly, and there would be not as many as you would need to
Yeah.
service
I
everybody.
think
But
when you get to a point where it's like, oh my goodness, we have so many, then
Yeah.
you worry about marketing it.
it might be better, like if we have the ones next year, that we could give a entity those passes, and they could give them to those people directly, and then they would have to turn them in to us. That way my staff wouldn't have to keep track of it.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, well, however, just a thought.
Potentially.
So if you communicate that information with others, maybe you can figure out the best thing to do there. It's just a thought. I don't know if that's exactly what we want to do or what you want to do, but just a thought.
That's good. Yeah, thanks for working through all that. The first pool pump that went out, I think there was a comment that it was going to go, the original pool pump that we had at the very beginning of the season, when it went out, we were going to ship it off for plausible repair. Is there any update on that?
I do not have an update on that.
Okay. Was it something, though, that we did send back to repair, or do we still have it in inventory broken, or is it?
I'm not sure,
Okay,
because
good.
it was taken out and the water department was taking care of it,
Okay.
but I will reach out to them to see.
Okay, it'd just be nice to know if we have a backup for a,
We
product.
do
that-
have the original
I think
pump.
I think that's what I
That's
was.
the one that we were talking about sending in to be repaired.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
that's what I'm
Oh,
after,
okay, okay.
yeah. No, yeah, so there.
Sorry, I was
I guess
confused.
in the storyline, it's the
There's-
original pump went out,
The
then we
second one,
replaced it,
yeah.
and it had malfunction. We put it in the third pump, and the third pump is what's currently at the thing.
Correct, okay. The first pump is
first.
actually at a mechanic shop in Jefferson City.
Perfect. That's what I'm after. Okay, good. So in theory, if repair does take place and works out, we will have a spare pump.
Yes.
In our possession.
Yes,
for-
if that one can be repaired.
Good.
Right,
Great.
if we
Great
can.
news to hear.
And I think that's what we're waiting to find out, because we asked for an estimate, but we need to know if it's something that would be able to be repaired.
Okay. Any comment on? I mean, I know the pool closed up, everything complete with it. Any things that we need to do for that asset? Is the company that worked on it originally, do they need to come out? Is there any pickling, like where we have to do anything over the winter, or is it just turn the pumps off, drain it, and we're good? Was there anything additional we needed to do?
Yes, they came and winterized. We do have an issue because we are losing a lot of water. So we're trying to figure out where we're losing the water from. But in that, since we had the liner replaced, our autofill sensor's not working appropriately, so we're gonna replace the autofill sensor while we're down, which automatically fills water whenever you need it.
Sure.
So you don't know if it's running low or not because you're not paying attention. So this year it wasn't functioning, so we had to manually fill it.
So you knew how much you're.
So you knew how much you were losing. So we don't know how long it's been a problem. We are looking into it. Before we did let the water out of the pool, we did throw some dye tabs in it to see where the color was going. And they didn't feel like it was going towards any seams. They felt like it was going down towards the bottom. So that there's some seals down there at the bottom that could be leaking. Because it pulls so much water from the well that's closest, and that's one of the rougher wells that we have, it gets a lot of sediment. So they said that any type of sand or debris that would get caught in that could cause water to leak out of that, so that there might be some seals in that bottom that can be replaced.
Okay. Good. Well, appreciate that. Just as a understanding of where the pool is.
They had talked about a water filter, but they thought it wouldn't be cost effective to put a water filter on, and as often as you'd have to change the filter, it wouldn't be cost effective.
Sure. The creek erosion associated to the FEMA mitigation portion of it, of course, we want to be able to go and attack that as soon as possible because every rain.
Yes.
That's the comment that I know that you've made. With the way FEMA had worked before, we're still kind of awaiting to find out if the reimbursement that we might get for the playground area,
Actually,
or did you guys
haven't we
get?
received that back already?
The fencing,
I thought
That's-
we got for the playground also.
I've not been made, I don't.
Okay,
I
maybe
don't-
not. Maybe not.
I think that, I guess my question is I don't want our some of the walkways that I see the erosion, especially the bridge that goes under, you can see that erosion
Yes.
bad. And of course, we want to chase after it now. Is this a thing where we're going to be awaiting FEMA mitigation money before we do this, or is it
I think
let's
we
get
have to
fund-
do it first,
Okay,
and then they will
request funding.
reimburse.
So is that something that, from my perspective, the parks has plenty of things that are important to complete as soon as possible, complete over the next year, and then future plans. And this, to me, seems like a high priority item because I see it potentially causing, problems with. people
Yeah,
getting
it's going
hurt
to
even,
erode into
so.
the fields,
Yeah.
or the playground even.
Is there I guess I want to know, what are the steps that we need to take? Is it, if we had quorum today and we could vote, what do you need more approval for?
We were waiting on the Corps of Engineers to get that permit.
Okay.
We just got that permit,
Okay,
so we're gonna be working to get it fixed.
So-
Actually, Brent and I were gonna meet this week, but he wanted to wait until the rain stopped.
perfect. Is there anything that you're going to need from our board in order to get approval, so that way you can go directly to the alderman as soon as possible? I think we just want to make sure that we have an idea of
they have to
when we need to
approve
come
purchase
back
of
and
rock
aid
or
with that
anything?
if it's needed.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know volumes and total amounts.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think the whole thing was gonna be under 10,000 to repair, because we're
If
doing
that's the
labor,
case,
we're
then
doing
that-
labor ourselves.
Whatever that is, as soon as we know it, let's make sure we're not the ones holding it up so they can hit the earliest Alderman meeting to get
Absolutely.
full approval. Because that's the one that like, oh,
Yes.
the bridge collapses or something because we get a bad rain and we could have mitigated it and now we've got,
And we're not waiting around on these projects anyway, because we have a deadline, and I don't remember exactly what that is, that we have to have these projects completed, or else FEMA won't reimburse. So, I mean, do you remember what the deadline is, Angie? It's gonna be the same.
Yeah,
I don't remember
recall.
either, but I mean, there's only X amount of time
That
that
we
we've gotta have
have
these
to.
projects done.
okay, well,
Yeah.
anything that you need,
so.
I mean, anything that I can help with, but besides,
Perfect.
I'm sure we want to
Right.
help as well.
Yeah, once we get those minutes approved.
I know, right?
It might be a little easier.
Darn it.
And my final question is, the balloon festival, awesome. That was so cool last year. Sounds like it's going to be even more amazing. What a great thing to bring to Salem. It's super unique, super cool. Parking last year, I thought worked out really well. I was impressed. I'm assuming whoever aided in allowing the parking, just curious, is that going to be a similar
I will have
setup?
to request again to use that facility, but she was open to us using it as long as we've had the sign that they weren't liable for anything, any
Yes, ma'am.
damage or injury.
And then maybe it's still plausible shuttling. Or was that?
It wasn't beneficial, so we paid him a considerable amount
But
of
it just
money,
didn't.
and they only had 4 cars park up there.
Okay.
So it wasn't really feasible. Nobody utilized it. I think
Okay.
it was very good, like, people came for the craft fair and they left. Some of them might have come back for the hot air balloon festival, but then you had another wave of people that came to
Different
eat.
crowds, yeah.
And yeah, it was a different crowd in the traffic flow. We did have the PD, called to come in and help, and then they ended up getting called to an emergency, accident at the four-way, and we didn't
Yep.
have any law enforcement there. But we didn't have an issue. It just flowed really well. I was impressed with how the ease of the flow of traffic was.
Well, I remember being there and thinking, hey, what can I tell you that we should do better next year? And I don't think I had anything. Like the fact that people went in the one side of Al Brown and went out the other, I mean, that was pretty impressive that the community followed the rules in that form. I mean,
We
I'm sure.
tried to get it out. Joe made the great suggestion of having them come in on that side road, which, if you're having to wait to get into the gate, you can back up on that road and it's not going to interfere with the
Yep.
flow of traffic. So that helped tremendously. Opening up that outfield, also cutting
Yep.
the fence there. We had additional overflow parking that we hadn't intended because we were just going to let vendors park there. But we ended up letting just anybody park there, which helped them not have to go to the high school. So that helped a lot. But we had signs at every intersection that could lead to that and every corner with arrows directing them how to get there.
That's good. Well, appreciate that. What's LWCF, the grant?
Land,
acronym?
water, soil.
Oh, I'll look it up.
Remember, my apologies.
No, all good.
One thing I will say about the hot air balloon festival, we are always happy to have people volunteer and help with the gate or at the other entrance or the end where the exit is, because you often have to tell people that you can't turn there just to keep going. And then just running around and checking on things. So if anybody wants to donate some time that day, we would be glad to have you.
Have you reached out to the Rotary at all?
Not yet. We will
Okay.
also reach out to FFA because we like
Right.
people to man the bounce houses and just some different things.
There's also a new student-led program at the high school called Teens on Prevention. It's a student-led prevention coalition. You might be able to pull some volunteers from that as
Okay,
well.
perfect. It's going to be a difficult day because there's, we announced that we're having this and there's lots of other community events that have popped up after that, and like homecoming is that day. So it's going to be a little difficult.
I think it's also the same day as Drug
Cattle-
Take Back Day.
The what?
Drug Take Back Day.
Oh,
So-
and Cattlemen Association's having a banquet and
Busy day.
it'll be
So,
busy.
Luke, that's Land and Water Conservation.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
So,
there you go.
Grant. But can you give an update from the 4th of July activities and celebration? Was it?
So
felt
I
like it was
wasn't a
success.
part
Any
of it. We
concerns?
allowed
Okay.
them to use the facility, and we brought
Right.
it up to where it needed to be to help them out. And the city brought in the lighting and stuff. I went down there. We opened both of our concessions to kind of help, and I ended up shutting one of my concessions down because people just weren't going up to it, but they were staying
Okay.
down closer to where the events were happening. But it was good. I mean, I don't know if you remember back in the old days when it
Oh, yeah.
used to be
I
there.
feel like it was a success.
Yeah.
I-
And I didn't stay in the park all night because I have a family home that's just around the corner, and
Yeah,
we watched it from their back porch, and it was a great show. They did a great job,
yeah.
and we were happy to
I
host
felt
them.
so too, yeah. And I appreciate your vision on the vacant piece of property that
Thank
we
you.
have. Yeah, I appreciate that. Do you foresee anything coming for a Christmas celebration with the lights again in the park?
It was a lot of work and a lot
Yeah.
of maintaining, and people come in and, or not even people coming in, but weather, where we're constantly setting things back up and
Yeah.
restaking things or picking things out of trees, or it was very cumbersome to do that. But last year we did the citywide contest. I don't know if we'll probably do that. We haven't talked about it, but where we give out electric utility credits for, and then they have to fill out an application to participate. And there was a commercial division and a residential division.
Okay.
Yeah, so, the hope with that was to try to get folks, when I first moved here, I was kind of surprised. There weren't a lot of folks who decorated their homes and businesses, not a lot of them that decorated the businesses with holiday lights. And so that was kind of a way to help hopefully encourage. And so instead of the light show, let's light up our community and make it something that hopefully we could promote. Do you know what I mean? And say, hey, because if they register, that was the whole focus. They had to register through the utility office that they were participating. And then we had utility credits. There was a first, second, third place for residential and a first, second, and third place for commercial winners. But we only had 6, 7 total entries last year, total, residential and commercial. And so, I don't know, we haven't talked about if we want to do it again. I feel like 1 year's not enough to give up on already. Do you know what I mean? Try it again, and hopefully we can get the word out a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah. And Mr. Sanders has the bus now, so he does those little
And he
Christmas
did those
tours.
last year, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
and
think he's,
I knew
think
some
he sold his
neighborhoods that
bus.
said, we're going to
Oh, did he
decorate.
sell it?
Yep.
Oh, he sold his bus, okay.
Oh, he did?
yeah, I
Okay.
think he's, at least, I think he's
Gotcha.
done
Okay,
with that.
But, so anyway, so we'll see.
yeah.
Yeah, I know the people at 4th of July, I know maybe the concessions didn't do super well for the city aspect, but I think the food trucks all sold out.
Yeah.
And I think their timing was a little weird. It was an all-day event, and maybe
Yes.
they're going to reschedule some
First
plans
year,
for it.
you
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
And I think I will say that we did sustain a little bit of damage at the park. One of the tennis court nets got broke during that event. I think, because it wasn't broke before, and that's whenever it broke. And then, because I went out and attempted to fix it afterwards, and I think it's still, the net needs a new cable in it, so. But,
That's the first I've heard of it.
I'm sorry, yeah.
That's okay.
Well, after I saw that it was broken, and we ran like a little tennis camp and just with a small number of kids when it was as hot as it possibly could be, we had to fix it beforehand, and so we got it fixed temporarily, but it wasn't fixed well enough to where it lasted.
Okay,
So,
because we just installed a couple of new nets out there, so,
yeah,
before season last year.
Yeah, it's that number one court is,
Okay.
the net right now is on the ground, so the temporary fix worked for maybe a month and a half, and then
Okay.
it's fallen again, so it just needs a new cable. So,
Kind of backtracking a little bit, and I apologize. I know we had some unforeseen pool closures this year. Have you got any kind of comments or information from the community about any frustrations or anything as far as,
Oh, yes.
okay.
I mean, they posted it all over
No,
Facebook.
I know that there's probably not a whole lot that we can do about it, but is there been much thought about maybe offering discounted rates to pool pass holders for this upcoming summer, or not upcoming, but in the next summer?
That'll be
Now-
something that you guys need to decide. not-
Okay, now, I'm not trying to take money out of our budget, but, and I know wasn't voted into this position, but just as, people had conversations with me as well, knowing that I'm the park board president, so, I mean, just so I'll have an answer, is there options? What options do we have? And I don't know if we need to have that conversation today, but,
The things that happened were completely out of my control for most of
Absolutely,
them.
yeah.
And I feel like I tried to go beyond and open even to the September 1st, because that was a struggle even finding staff, because all my kids are back into sports, my teachers are back to school, and they don't want to come back and work a 3-day weekend because they're back full swing
Sure.
school. So it was difficult to even keep it open till September 1st. And when we did open till September 1st, our numbers were not great. So it's like
Right.
people complain about it, and then you leave it open to try to accommodate, and then nobody
That
comes.
just might not be probably the best option per other folks' opinion. I don't know. It's just I think worth a conversation, but maybe that's not today. I don't know.
I thought that was a good. I thought it was a good mitigation plan. The idea you had 90 days of open. You could have more weather problems and have even less.
Yeah, there's no way to
But-
predict. We
So,
just don't know.
and there's no like set on it. But I don't think we would have been open. And I shouldn't speak for you, but I don't think you would have been open over Labor Day weekend. And in hindsight, maybe we shouldn't have been because there wasn't hardly anybody there. However, that weekend, I believe, aided in saying, hey, that we're going to stay open this weekend
To try to
because
accommodate,
of
yeah.
that. So I 10 days, while it might seem like a lot, I mean, and it probably seems like an awful lot because the year before we couldn't open. But there's no way of knowing these things are going to happen. I will say next year, the expectation of problems with a pump are mitigated because hopefully we'll have a replacement pump
Right.
if that's something that
And also, I
happens.
didn't look at the weather, because, we closed because we didn't have the pump. But I did not look at the weather
There's
on those
3 days that
days.
you
There were
wouldn't-
days that the pump
Yeah.
was down,
Yeah.
but it was raining, so we
Yeah.
couldn't have been open anyway. But I depicted that as pump days and not weather days.
Yeah.
It was a very rainy season this year, very rainy. And if it is thundering or lightning, we cannot have people on the deck.
Yeah.
We cannot.
Yeah.
You can swim in your own pool at your own house, because you're not my liability, but if it's thundering or lightning, you're going to have to get out of the pool.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that I would make comment is for unforeseen circumstances, even if it's maintenance or weather, that's when you buy a pool pass, that's the understanding. And maybe that could be something that's said in fine print at the bottom of,
As like a
on the
disclaimer.
flyer that says,
Right.
hey, there's,
Right.
when you buy this, if it floods the entire year and it rains every day with lightning, that's how it goes. I mean, that's part of the pool pass.
That's
so.
not going to happen, so you need to stop saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
We're not
right.
going to even put that into the atmosphere.
So, okay, good. I don't have anything else. I really appreciate you going through the agenda. I do like the plans here. I'm gonna try to marinate on them and see if I can aid in some of the information here for what your ideas are here at the old fairgrounds. It's really cool. Good.
All right, so it looks like maybe the other couple things that we could discuss is that, well, and we've kind of already hit on the LWCF grant discussion. I think we've talked about that sufficiently. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, obviously, right now. Also, the budget update, we obviously can't vote on that. So, I mean, do you think it's worth having that discussion or going through it, being that you're going to have to go through it again when we,
I mean, I would just review it on your own time.
Yeah.
okay,
I'd say if
There's
you guys have
nothing-
questions, reach out. But
Yeah.
okay,
I don't know of anything of notable exception that.
right.
you know,
I don't know that we
Looking
need,
at the tax
yeah.
that came in, last night she said that it was coming in higher than
Right.
projected, so that's good for us.
Yeah.
But
Okay. You guys think of anything else that we can talk about or anything? Okay. I guess at this point, we can adjourn. I don't think we need to vote either to adjourn.
Thank you guys
You
for
just
presenting.
say,
Get out of here.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Melissa. Thank you,
thanks
guys.
for coming.